first time the Community Library Network has done something to this scale and with such talented actors. So Banned Book Week is an annual celebration of the freedom to read. Free the books, don't let censorship keep you in the dark. It is our slogan for this year to highlight consequences of censorship. As U.S. citizens, the freedom to read is our birthright, guaranteed by the First Amendment. Libraries exist to make sure that stories and information are available to everyone. The library profession has been keeping track of banned books since 1990. And the banning of books is the attempt to remove or restrict access to those titles in libraries. So in 2017, that's the latest stats I have, 416 books were either banned or censored in the United States, and 56% of those were set in a public library, which as a public librarian, I'm just like, and of those 400 plus books, 56 of those were, oh, I just said that. So let me like skim down a little bit. But of those, it's estimated by the Office of Intellectual Freedom that 82 or 97% of banned book challenges go unreported. So knowing why books are challenged helps us understand why access to all ideas are vital to our democracy. Today, through the magic of the Coeur d'Alene Summer Theatre, we have the opportunity to witness censorship brought to life. As you watch and listen to the values given here, we'd like you to think about the cost of censorship to society and share your thoughts with us. We put a few questions on the back of the program if you want to stick around and discuss it. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming the actors from the Coeur d'Alene Summer Theatre.
All rise, please. The Court of Public Opinion and Social Justice for the State of Human Literacy and Litigious Libraries is now in session. The Honorable Judge Jubal Harshaw presiding. That's me, by the way. You can be seated. Members of the jury, your duty today is to render a verdict regarding the guilt or innocence of the defendants based on the facts that will be discovered from their testimony. The prosecution must prove that a crime has been committed against the public good. The accused, aided by their defense, must answer against these accusations, and you must decide, banned or unbanned. It is my job to see that justice is served according to literary law. I am Jubal E. Harshaw, judge, lawyer, medical doctor, and scientist. I'm a popular character in 4 of Robert Heinlein's novels, an author, by the way, who has faced his own share of censorship. Your prosecutor is Miss Elizabeth Bennet, as created by Jane Austen in Pride and Prejudice, an educated woman of sharp wit, well known for her accuracy in judging the behavior and intentions of others. For the defense, we have a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Atticus Finch, as created by Harper Lee. I've only seen him try one case, and he lost. Yet he is the bar by which all attorneys and fathers are measured. Is the prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
We are, Your Honor.
We will first hear opening statements from the prosecution, then the defense. Ms. Bennett, you have the floor.
You will hear many arguments in the courtroom today. Arguments that call upon liberty, free speech, and basic human rights. But I implore you not to be. This trial is not about rights. It is about decency. The defense will ask you to believe that there is no right or wrong. They will deliberately obfuscate the easily seen black and white with hazy gray and personal interpretations of the law. We will bring before you 4 books. Books that challenge family values and degrade the naturally elevated state of man. In some cases, these books will contain language that will shock the tender sensibilities of good readers like yourselves. For this, I apologize in advance. Other books will put forth ideas that debase God, promote unpatriotic political beliefs, or carnalize interaction between the sexes for purpose of titillation and debauchery. Again, I apologize, but this is the very reason we are here today. We must protect what virtue we have left. I don't believe in censorship any more than you do, but I do believe in good taste. And when an author writes something in bad taste, something offensive, perverse, or something just plain wrong, then we have a duty to limit the spread of the social contagion before it infects us and our children. We do this not because it is politically correct or popular, but because it is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Miss Bennett is right. This trial is about us and our children. She is also correct in simply searching for the right thing to do. Finding the right thing to do can be hard. It can also be hard to do the right thing. Miss Bennett talks about taste, offense, and perversity. She implores you to do the right thing. I believe you are capable of this. In fact, I'm 100% positive in your ability to distinguish between what is divine and what is perverse. And that is why we are here today. We're not simply making a distinction between good taste and bad taste, offensive and inoffensive. We are making the choice to continue making that choice, to determine for ourselves what is good and what is bad according to the dictates of our own individual conscience. If we give up that right, we become less a democracy of individuals and more of an authoritarian state, a state where you are told what is right and what is wrong, a state where a group of strangers will decide what your children will or will not learn, a state where decisions are taken from you and choices like you are making today, right now, are taken away from you and given to Judge Hershaw or Miss Bennett or myself. I don't want that right. It's not mine to exercise. It is yours. It is a hard choice, but it is a choice that protects your right to decide what you choose for your children and what that choice will give to generations to come. Now, I have faith in your ability to choose. Thank you.
Ms. Bennett, is the prosecution ready to present its case?
I am, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
The prosecution calls Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so far as you have been written?
I do.
You are a scary book, aren't you?
Not really. I'm different. I was certainly different in 1963 when I was published.
Different how?
Well, my main character, Max, is adventurous and he sometimes gets into trouble. Also, I talk about monsters.
Monsters? In a children's book. So monsters aren't scary. In fact, don't the monsters gang up on Max and threaten to eat him up? How is that not scary? And these aren't just regular monsters, are they? Can you describe your monsters for me?
Well, there are several types. Some are giant bird-like creatures and some have large mouths and pointy teeth. Some are hairy and, well, some have horns.
Horns? Giant, hairy, large-mouthed monsters with sharp teeth and horns who threaten to eat children. How wonderful. Certainly not Dick and Jane, are you? Tell me, what do your monsters do for fun?
Oh, mostly a wild, raucous dance where they howl at the moon and swing from trees.
Oh, horned demons that dance and howl at the moon? What exactly are you teaching children here? It sounds like the occult.
The book is about love and acceptance and overcoming the fear to return home. I think the book has a wonderful message, and so do the children who read me.
Well, it's not the job for children to protect themselves, is it? It is up to us. So, Max is sent to his room without supper. returns home, his supper is waiting for him. Not exactly a morality play, is it? What is learned?
Well, he learns that even when he is king of all the wild things, his mother loves him most.
Of course she does. Don't we all love our children most? I have no further questions.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor.
Well, Ms. Bennett, it seems you still have the floor.
The prosecution calls 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so far as you've been written?
I do.
Congratulations. You've been made into a Netflix series. It would seem that your influence amongst teens grows daily.
Thank you. I think that I have a lot to say, and my message is important.
And what message would that be? Drug and alcohol use? Overt sexuality? Profanity? Oh, and the glorification of suicide. It's not exactly an uplifting book, is it? Frankly, by the end of the book, I wanted to kill myself.
Depression and how we handle depression as a society isn't a joke, Miss Bennett. And no, to answer your question, suicide is not uplifting, but it is important that we talk about it. I portray a series of events from a realistic point of view that it doesn't glorify suicide, but it doesn't patronize the reader either.
I apologize. I wasn't making light of your content, it's just that teenage angst has been around for years. It's nothing new. I think Shakespeare covered it quite well. Why go into such graphic detail?
The point was to get teenagers and parents and school authorities talking, and Romeo and Juliet just wasn't cutting it. I don't glorify suicide. If anything, I remove the romantic drapery of suicide and get to its roots. Depression, bullying, drug and alcohol use, rumors, shaming, and personal responsibility for one's actions.
Haven't teen suicides risen since your publishing and subsequent media exposure?
Suicides were on the rise before I was written. I have been equally attributed to stopping or reducing suicide. I think empowering teenagers with reality is more effective than silence. I'm not an easy read, I'll admit that, but like the elephant in the room, it is something we can no longer ignore. We can't always protect our children from the evils that surround us, but we can equip them with the tools to cope and let them know they are not alone in their struggle.
No, they are not. They have God and parents and all of us looking out for them, don't they? I have nothing more for this book.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor.
Well, Ms. Bennett, do you have another book for us?
I do, Your Honor. The prosecution calls The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so far as you've been written?
I do.
Smut. That's how people describe you. Is that how you would describe yourself?
No. I'm not smut. I'm not smutty. I may not be to everyone's taste, but I am not smut.
Do you contain descriptions of sex?
I contain descriptions of procreation in an alternate future. Sometimes my author calls speculative fiction. But there is so much more to the story than sex.
Would you agree that the main premise is about sex? I mean to say that if all the sex you detail in unflinching vulgarity were eliminated, what would you be about?
It would be about women in a patriarchal society struggling to be heard, a topic I believe you are intimately familiar with.
And yet, my story has a distinct lack of sexual intercourse. But I'm not the one on trial here. Would you agree that you portray religion in a pretty dark light?
No, quite the opposite. I would rather say I portray absolute, unquestioned power wrong hands, even the greatest good can be used to execute the greatest evil. At my core, the book is about the right to question authority and not be subject to the will of a select few. That's why we're here right now, isn't it? Somebody has declared me immoral, and thus the decision is made for everybody, regardless of religion, race, or creed.
So, society doesn't have the right to protect its populace?
I think Miss Atwood has shown us that the people, as a group of individuals, already protect society, but that a group of individuals acting as one can endanger it. You can't protect society through banning books. You can only enslave it.
So, you justify your lasciviousness in a cloak of righteous freedom? How convenient for you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Finch, I am almost afraid to ask. Do you wish to cross-examine?
No need, Your Honor.
Ms. Bennett, any other witnesses you wish to call?
No, Your Honor, the prosecution rests.
Well, Mr. Finch, I assume you have some sort of defense to present?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I have a single witness to call.
Well, then, Mr. Finch, the floor is yours.
If it pleases the court, I wish to call Mein Kampf to the stand by Adolf Hitler.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so far as you've been written?
As far as I've been written? Sure.
You are in a unique position. Your author has advocated the burning of books to purify the encroaching evils on Germany and its Aryan youth. And yet, you yourself have been banned in many countries for the ideologies like genocide, and not only espouses, but actively encourages. So, what are you? Are you a good book, or are you a bad book?
I am a book dedicated to the truth. The truth is often hard to hear. Like a mother, it is my responsibility to filter the truth from fiction, so that I may protect my people from the lies of this world. It is often not popular, but it is not bad.
Why not let the people decide for themselves?
That is anarchy. Oh, that is the opposite of good government. You cannot trust the people to choose what is best. Some writing is so evil that not to point out its offense and excise it from circulation is a bureaucratic sin of omission. We are being attacked. We did not start this fight, but we must end it, and all of those who perpetuate its ignorance.
You're speaking, of course, about sanctioned racism. Do those who oppose you have no say?
Nine. The decision is made for all.
So, almost 95 years later, you are still banned in some countries. But that is changing. May I read you a quote from a person who represents a group that wants your writing published for all to read and come to their own conclusions?
Oh, of course. I back anybody who furthers my cause.
The only imaginable way to continue the existing ban against Mein Kampf beyond 2015 would be explicit legislation to this effect. A complicated process which might run into constitutional difficulties and fail to clear the hurdle of the German Constitutional Court. I think, however, that wise involvement is better than running away from the battle. What a triumph for the Nazis this would be.
Sounds like a very wise man.
He is. He's even volunteered his group to edit and annotate. He believes that everyone should read it and study it and come to their own conclusions, that it is a hallmark for a generation.
Oh, I am liking him more and more.
He continues, in the face of increasing right-wing nationalism across Europe, we have to be aware that those who fight can lose, but those who do not fight have already lost.
He speaks like a German, perhaps a future leader of Germany.
Such an addition would educate the interested reader, in particular, German youth. It would unmask Hitler for what he was, a fanatic, one who made his views no secret and yet won massive support from his fellow countrymen. Taking Germany into years of dictatorship, leading it to commit the worst crime in human history, to devastate Europe, and ultimately leaving the country occupied, divided, and weakened.
I do not see you. No.
This quote was presented as a speech given by Stephen J. Kramer, the Secretary General, Germany's Central Council of Jews. I have no further questions, Your Honor. The defense rests.
Very well. Miss Bennett, we will now hear your closing statements to the jury, followed by Mr. Finch's.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be brief. Members of the jury, you have heard today from books that have no place on our bookshelves. Should your child read about satanic dancing rituals from carnivals who eat children? Should suicide, drugs, and sex be glorified for our teenagers? Should you really be reading about rape as an institution of religion? Does it uplift? Is it a reflection of the best of humanity? Should it even be a choice? I think you know the answer. You shouldn't even be here. It is a question that doesn't need to be asked. It has already been answered by those with pure hearts and sound minds. Thank you for your patience during this upsetting testimony. I trust in your ability to review the facts and decide for all of us what we should believe and uphold for the common good.
It is simple, really. Whose decision is it? Is it yours to decide or hers? Does restriction enrich dialogue or stifle it? Are we to learn from history or let history be spoon-fed to us in carefully edited portions? Every time you check out a book, you cast a vote. Are we intelligent enough to make that decision for ourselves? Or should we dismiss the lot of you and lead you and make the decision for you? To parent you as you parent your children, relieving you of the burdensome responsibility of free thought and choice? You all came in here tonight with the right to choose for yourselves. I hope, for all of our sake, that you will allow us to leave with it as well. Thank you.
Members of the jury, the question that has been placed before you is a difficult one that has been debated for years. You've heard from both sides, and now it's up to you to decide. Choose now, while you still can. Thank you.